you think that throughout your years you may have overcame a thing or two?
Oh, like all of us, I'm sure I have. Yeah, yeah. Physical challenges that before I came to know the Lord, as I do now, those challenges were just like a chicken with its head off, going from this.
Hey, you! We're in East Jordan, Michigan. I'm Austin. This is the People's Podcast 2, and you are our why.
I think in some type of way, I struggle a little bit every day.
I just pray and then put my effort into whatever thing I want to put it into.
Communication is the key to success. I mean, that's what they say.
Absolutely. Yeah, unity is so important.
You are our why.
I'm Austin. I'm here in Ellsworth at Ellsworth Christian Reformed Church, and I'm standing here with, your name is?
Gary. I'm Gary.
Okay. Good to see you, Gary. How you feeling today?
Feeling great.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with what brings you to Ellsworth, Gary?
Well, I live in East Jordan, but the church we're standing in front of right now brought me to Ellsworth.
Okay.
I was in search of a Christian Reformed church, and that was the nearest one to me. So here I am.
Very good. Yeah, it is a great one. So why East Jordan?
Why East Jordan? Well, some serendipity in general northern Michigan, because the wife and I were retired and wanted to be a little closer to nature and less surrounded by cars and people like we had downstate. So
Okay.
that happened to find a place, and East Jordan looked like as good a place as anyway.
Yeah.
In the north. So yeah.
And I'm sure that you found that it was pretty great, right?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
The Lord guided us there, and anything the Lord guides us to usually turns out, I'll even say always turns
out. So you moved up here from downstate. I imagine that was probably for your work and how you were earning a living down there. Is that right?
No, we're both retired. So we were looking for where did we want to spend our golden years.
Okay. So. What was prior to that? How were you earning a living prior to this kind of retirement settlement? And I do believe I know that you're still doing some things now. So what was your main body, and then what are you doing now?
Well, I worked at a pharmaceutical company doing research for them. I don't know why I started with that. That was only for 4 years in the 80s. But prior to that, I spent 30 years with a spice extraction company.
Oh.
And but that was kind of divided up into sections as I did various other things. I went to Upjohn, and I came back to CalSec for another 10 years before I retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then can you tell me a little bit about what you're up to now? I know you do some traveling.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I was retired for about 10 years and had an opportunity to, wasn't actually even seeking employment, but it was to help someone out who was doing the same work and driving as a courier, and they're having trouble finding more drivers. And so the overtime, my friend was just working way too many hours to get the work done. And I said, well, yeah, I'll help you out. And as it turned out, I really like it. So I've spent a year now. So
very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, not so bad getting back in the work life, I guess. Maybe it's more so a fulfilling thing than it is just a means of income, probably then.
Oh, absolutely. It's the nature of the work is that I drive 220 miles 5 days a week, and 90% 4 or 5% of that time is behind the wheel. And so I can listen to sermons online. I can listen to music, audio books. It's like getting a PhD for free, and not only that, but they pay me
Yeah.
while I'm getting
Yep.
getting it done. So there is that. The downside is, it's hours that I should be doing things at home. I got real used to having a lot of time in retirement, so I could keep the house and yard and vehicles in good shape. So that is a challenge right there.
Well, do you think that throughout your years you may have overcame a thing or two?
Oh, like all of us, I am sure I have. Yeah, yeah. Physical challenges that before I came to know the Lord, as I do now, those challenges were just like a chicken with its head off, going from this doctor to the next. And so, yeah, at my age, I came to the Lord late in life, in my 40s. So, and it's still just on a daily basis, I'm amazed at the wonders of the Lord and how He can work in your life if you are open to the Lord to work in you.
Yeah.
It's just, it astounds me daily.
Is your faith and your coming to the Lord in your 40s, as you say, is that maybe part of the way you might explain that you've overcome some of the things that you've had to?
No question.
Yeah.
No question about it. Sure.
And is that something that you've shared with other people, whether it be family or friends, or maybe other churchgoers? Or
That's one of the challenges that is continuing. When you're a new Christian and you're filled with the Spirit, and you embrace personally the incredible power and the joy and the peace that Christ will bring to you, and the new Christian filled with that fervor just wants to run to anybody who will listen and say, "Let me tell you about my Jesus," like the hymn says.
mm-hmm.
And as the years have gone by, maybe I've gotten older, hopefully wiser. You recognize you've got to do that as the Spirit moves you. And another thing I've learned just popped into my head is that words that you think fall on deaf ears, maybe to young people or whatever, um, are like seeds. And it might be decades in that person's life before those seeds take root. I think of myself, things that my family said to me when I was young and bullheaded. I can imagine my dad saying, "Oh boy, that kid's so hard-headed, nothing's ever going to stick." And yet I'm, in my 60s, and those words come back to me sometimes with fresh meaning. So I guess what I'm trying to say is never be discouraged. If you're speaking what the Lord would have you speak, wisdom or advice or counsel, don't turn away from that opportunity thinking that it's not going to stick because this person's too bullheaded or they're not spiritually ready or whatever.
Yeah.
Those words have a way of staying around and being meaningful down the road. There's, I'm reminded of this saying about, living according to God's time. And a lot of times we become impatient. We think, "God, where are you? Why aren't you providing this or that or answering my prayers?" That's where patience and humility is so important, because just trust that God has got it in hand, which He always does. And yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of free forming here.
Oh no, I'm loving what you're saying, and the things that you were talking about just a minute ago, they lead right into the next question that's burning in my mind. Basically, it was you spoke a lot. Like you started out speaking about the new Christian and the fervor, and just wanting to go and interact with all these people and speak to them about certain things, and it sounds like you kind of already you probably believe in the power that's in communication, and can you exemplify that?
Oh yes. Oh gosh. You mean give more example of
If you might, yeah, or just your belief in it and how it and how it has impacted you, and even more so how somebody might benefit from hearing, you know what I mean, your experience and your example.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm reminded of something we said before the camera was turned on, how we should exemplify and share the joy and wisdom of Christ at every opportunity. And if all else fails, then use your words.
Yep. I love that too.
Because so often words, I mean, this just popped into my head too. The incredible nature of God and the love of Christ is so immense, we don't even hardly have the language to describe it. So, almost by definition, our words will fail us. So, so much the better that your life be an example of the message that you're trying to portray, and use words if you have to.
Yep. So, as we were speaking, just as a group of three over there, we spoke about how you have opportunities to speak with people and share moments and have unity with people, and then you walk away and you're kicking yourself because you realized things could have been so much better had you only maybe done things slightly different. But the main thing we were speaking of there was just the unity that we can have, and how do you feel about unity as a whole, and what might you like to see unity impact and do for the community on every scale moving forward?
Now, are you speaking unity as this endeavor to make
Just
interviews, or unity
the
in
word,
the general sense
the concept of unity
The
as
concept.
we know it in our words?
Sure. Well, gee, I get so quickly into the weeds here with my thoughts. Um, I'm an introvert, and most of my early formative years were spent alone. Uh, and so I learned to be self-sufficient. And that was the most honorable, noble thing, is if you can grow up into an adult and be self-sufficient. And the older I get, and the more I get immersed in the Word, and indeed the Great Commission, that we bring the knowledge of Christ to all nations, speak to everybody. There's no place for this notion of being the loner. So that's been a long educational process for me as I was growing up. And so, by all means, any opportunity that you have to share a kind word with anyone, the bagger bagging your groceries at the supermarket, uh, the person on the street who, panhandlers, if you spend time in any city,
Yep.
they're everywhere. People are hurting. And always meet people's eye, and regardless of how you feel about giving money to them, if you feel it's just going to go to drugs, sometimes they'll tell you in cities, don't give money to the panhandlers. Same with the children, the young kids in Mexico.
Right.
They across the buses, and. So, but always meet people's eye, let them know that you see them, that they're a human being, and that you care for them.
Yep. I think that I think your understanding is great. Because regardless of what might come of the interaction, just as you said, just kind of having that moment where you're looking and you're doing the body language, it's felt and utilized immediately.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I do very much appreciate you talking with me.
Oh, I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
This is a wonderful endeavor, and we need to see more of it. And I wish you all the success.
Thank you. Well, God willing, we will.
Yeah, indeed.
Can I get your name one more time?
It's Gary.
Gary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this interview. We hope and pray that this story could help you, encourage you, or inspire you to take action in any way. We challenge you to see yourself in every interviewee, and we challenge you to get out and talk to one new person every single day. If this impacted your life in any way, please like, share, and subscribe. We're posting one new video every single day, Monday through Saturday. Thank you so much for your time. This is the People's Podcast. We're praying for you always.
Man, that's deep.